Hello everyone and welcome to the edited version of the live. Because most of you wasn't there, so I have edited the live to make it shorter and easier for you to watch. So if there is anything after that didn't make sense, feel free to drop me a private message. If you wanted me to go over anything again or explain properly, more than welcome. So let's get straight into it. Basically guys, once you're warming up, one thing that a lot of people forget to do is the wrist. So I'm gonna show you a little exercise that I do it myself just to make sure my wrist is always strong enough to be on the position. The Macaco doesn't force too much on the wrist, in my opinion, compared to some other movements. But either way, so what I do, I keep my hand flat and I'm gonna lean forwards and backwards. Most of the weight is on my leg at the moment because I'm warming up. But keep going up and back, and I do it around 10 on each directions. Once I've done that, I turn my wrist to the side, so fingers point to the side, and I do the same thing on the other side. And for some of you that already got a lot of flexibility or wrist strength, you can like go away from the knees a little bit more so you can put more weight through. But I strongly suggest you add this because compared to everything else, the wrist is quite a small joint and it's very easy to injure yourself. And then I also turn them inward like this, and then I alternate the hands there, and I do about like 10 times on each hand, and I go from there. And same thing I do on the other angle. So I go here, turn, and remember, don't lean all your weight there. And when you're doing this, make sure your arm is straight as well. If I'm bending, it's pointless. So I'm not actually stretching anything, so I'm just keeping everything straight and doing that. The usual warm-up, this is what I do for my wrist. And you can always increase by putting more weight and all that kind of stuff. I suggest that you do it, especially if you're just starting your journey now, or if you haven't done for a while, and then straight away. Wrist is normally the weakest point that's gonna suffer when you're doing that. So I'm gonna go through the takeoff, okay? I see a lot of people struggling on the takeoff, and this is the first step. If your takeoff is not as strong as it needs to be, you're gonna compromise everything else. So I personally start on my toes. Why? Because imagine you're gonna jump. It's much more powerful if I jump off my toes. So when I'm here, if I'm jumping flat foot, I'm not gonna get as much strength. I'm not engaging all the muscles that I need to engage. So I personally start on my toes. And for those that doesn't have much hip flexibility like myself, compared to a lot, I saw most of you do yoga or done ballet and all that. So you have got a lot of flexibility on your wrist. So you can sit flat. This is as far as I can go because of my hip flexibility. So I need to go on my toes anyway. So from here is a comfortable position for you to start. But what you don't want to do is you start on your toes and then lean back to the heels. Why? Because when I'm gonna take off, no matter what, even if you start on this position, you still need to go to your toes before you jump. So my suggestion to you is already start on your toes. If you already get used to start feet flat and it's not affecting your height, that's fine. But the reason being is because you have got good hip flexibility. It's not a problem, it's good. But the majority, especially guys, that normally it's tighter on the hip, will struggle to get your full potential there. Can you do it without? Yes, you can. But that means you're involving more elements, coordination, not just the strength from the legs, because you're not able to use it full potential because you're not jumping off your toes. But at the beginning, when you're learning, you want to maximize everything, and that's why I suggest. So I start on my toes, and one more thing, for you to make sure you're starting on your toes, your knee has to go past your knee has to be passing your toes. If you're flat on the foot, look the position that my knee is. My knee is pointing up. And my hips is even lower than my hip. So it's a longer way for my hip to pass my knee to get to that position. So one more obstacle for you. And that's why I prefer to start on the toes. The next thing is where you look. A lot of people teach you how to do it by looking up on this hand. It's not wrong. I'm just allowing someone on the group, sorry. So it's not wrong to look up. But if you do this test, next time you're gonna train, if you just do this fast, you get dizzy. And normally you're not gonna commit it 100% if you start looking up. Why? Because you don't see where you're placing your hand. So sometimes you place the hand here because this is your natural position of the hand. So again, one more thing for you to add on your list to do on the macaco. Is already big, right? You need to twist the hand. You need to wait until your hip go up. You need to make sure you don't twist your toes. All that. And on top of that, you need to now worry how you're placing the hand because you can't see the floor. The next time you're gonna see the floor if you throw your head up is when you're upside down on a handstand. And if you can't get there quite yet, what's gonna happen? You're gonna lean to the side. So you're gonna end up doing a cartwheel. So normally what happens is you go up, you look, and then you turn to the side. So that's quite common to see. That's not the only reason, but that's why I prefer to look where I'm going. It's like crossing the road. You don't step on the road and then look to see if there is cars going on your direction. First you look, or you look down, it's safe to go, and then you go. That's the same principle when you're gonna do the macaco. It's much easier because your body normally follows where you look. Yes, I'm looking to the side, which means, oh, my body's gonna go to the side. Naturally, yes, but we've been drilling to keep the hips forward, to go on the toe first, and to raise the hip before we take off. That's why that drill, and that's why we're spending like pretty much this whole week and the whole next week drilling that. Because as soon as you turn your hip or your toes, game over for you to do a full macaco. Yeah. Yes, some people teaching going to the side. I do it as well. Depends on the person, if they're struggling with the coordination. Everyone is different. But if you're committing to the drill itself, we want to focus on going up. So starting on the toes, looking first, yeah, placing the hand this way. So my finger is pointing that way. Why? Because I want to lock my arm. If I place my hand that way, can I still go over? Yes, but you will need to turn your hip mid-air. Again, one extra step. You want to avoid as many steps as you can before you go. If it's not necessary, why add it, right? So that's why I place my hands here that way, because one is going to lock my arm, so my arm is not going to bend halfway through. It's uncomfortable until I take off. But once I'm on this position here, it's okay. So what's happening is some of you looking forward last minute, you look, it's too late. So first thing, this is the order that you want to follow. Head, so I can see the floor. So I can place my hands. My knees at that point, when I place my hand, my knee goes over my toes even more. So if I'm here, look what my knee does when I go over. But at that stage, I'm already raising my hip, okay, to do the drill or to do the macaco as well. This is the beginning of the macaco. So when you're actually doing the macaco, this is what's going to happen. There are different ways to do the macaco. I'm going to demonstrate them all. But just for you to understand the drill, to make sure you're on the right path and you're doing the right thing. At the beginning, our mind always learns faster than our body. So it's normal that you understand something, or sometimes you think you understood something, and then when you are actually going to do it, two things normally happen. Once, we think we're doing it, and then you watch the recording. Oh, actually, I wasn't. That's what happened to some of you during this week, right? Remember, you showed me something, and then I pointed some stuff on the video, and then you guys corrected. But maybe just understanding without seeing the arrows, exactly what's happening, you wouldn't pay attention on those things. So it takes time, even though that you know here what to do, for your body to process. And especially if it involves flexibility, strength. It takes time. It's not doing the exercise once that's going to build up the strength that you need. Okay, so that's why I personally, by experience, is much quicker breaking down things. Okay, we work on this phase before we keep adding stuff, because if this part, especially the beginning, is not right, it's only gonna cause more problem at the end or halfway through, and you're gonna get even more frustrated. Okay, so we cover the setup, we cover pushing up. The next thing, I'm gonna keep pushing my head over my shoulder. Okay, so if you have got good back flexibility, it's gonna help you, but it's not essential because you can compensate with power. That's why at the moment on this drill, we're using power, we're not using flexibility. Okay, but if you have got a good back flexibility, even better for you. But if I could pick one, either have strength or flexibility, I'll pick strength. If I could choose, of course. But either one of them, you can build it up. It's just one quicker than the other. Okay? If you have both, amazing. Okay, so toes looking first, hands facing towards the wall, hip going as high as I can, and I'm gonna lean my head. So I'm gonna start leaning my head. I'm not jumping quite high yet, I'm just building up my strength. But the longer I stay on my shoulder, the better it is for me. So I want you to don't come back quick. What happened is some of you are doing this. You jump in the leg, but you're not breaking the hip. So even if you have to slow down here, push my hip, this is as far as my flexibility can go. So I place my hand in the right position, this is as far as I can go. And from here, I'm gonna push. You can even start like that until you can combine the coordination with the momentum. Because it takes time to your body to process that. And every time you're gonna do it, I want you to stand up. Don't stay there for too long because you are already wasting energy. If I'm here for like a good 30 seconds, I'm already getting tired. For that reason, I'm leaning on these hands. Don't stay like this and then go. Yeah, because you're wasting time there. It's like when you're sitting on the chair for too long, you drain your energy there. When you stand up, you're like, oh my God, what happened? You're there for too long. So every time you do one, I want you to stand up and go again from the top. You want to put everything you got. Once you understand the order and it's muscle memory for you, nothing's changed, your hip is not twisting. I want you to put all your effort and driving your head over that way and pushing that hip up. You might not be able to see here because it's quite quickly, but when I edit the video, I'm gonna pause and show you my hip going high and passing my knee. Maybe not today because I'm not full strength on that leg, but I'll try my best to push as high as I can. So I start, place the hand, come back here, and then come back. Can't remember who it was, but it told me, oh, it's hard to keep the balance. You're not trying to balance. Don't worry about coming back. As long as you're coming back on your toes and you're delaying, the more I delay my head that way, the slower will be my coming back. But if I'm already thinking on coming back on my way up, it's not gonna happen. So I end up doing this. Yeah, I'm kicking my leg that way. And I wanna send my leg that way. I'm not open my leg at any point. I'm just driving from the hip. So stand up, step, go, and coming back. Now I'm starting to drive my head even more. And you keep drilling until it's gonna get to a point. It's more weight this way than this way. And then it's easy to just kick the opposite leg or both legs, however you want.
Good question. Can you discuss the distance of the placement, the distance of your hand from your heels?
Yes.
Because in times where I'm like the wrong distance and it's like I just run right into my arm and I fall. So it's like getting that optimal distance to get a nice arch.
Amazing question. It's hard to say where because everyone is different, flexibility, height, yeah. But the one thing that you're looking out for, you want to have your elbow in line with your wrist and your shoulder on top of your elbow. But look, if I place it too far, see that my shoulder is here, is not on top of my hand. Of course, this I'm exaggerating, but just so you can see it. So even if I push here, I'm not gonna go too high because it's too far. If I place it too close, I personally don't have the flexibility to go over, even though that I'm on top, but I'm actually too close to my wrist. The best way for you to solve that is looking where you place the hand, because it's like when you're gonna walk. You see in the floor, you don't go like too wide, right? Naturally, you're gonna place where your hip range goes and everything goes. And it's the same for the hand. You're only gonna place too far where that you fall too fast, or if you deliberately putting the hand up for a specific reason, okay? But your body, your own flexibility is gonna either not let you go too high or feel very heavy. So look where you're placing the hand, not just face the hand, because a lot of people, they like this, but one eye is here because they learned that way, and the other one's like, oh, I can see my hand somewhere there. I genuinely actually look at my hands. And normally, so I'm just about to do the macaco, I look, and then I place. Once you get used to it, my head is still facing that way. I don't focus on my hand anymore because I know how to do it. I'm focused on the person that I'm playing against or whatever I'm gonna do next. But the position, it has to be where this is all in line and you can lean on it, because my goal is to lean on top of my shoulder. So I'm doing this and I'm leaning towards my shoulder. If it's too far, it's a longer way to go. So my momentum does not only need to go up, it needs to go that way as well. So drill, look, place, and then go. One more thing that I saw some of you doing is natural. This arm, you don't control it at the beginning because you focus on everything else. But once you start to pay attention on everything else makes sense, I want you to drive the arm over as if you're gonna place on the floor. You're not gonna go put on the floor. You're not gonna go over yet. If you do, perfect, you've done the macaco by yourself, great. But I wanna drive there because I want all my momentum sent that way. At the moment, my legs is the only thing dragging me back this side. So I'm sending my leg up and I'm trying to go that way. Because I don't have enough strength or something is blocking me, my hip, the position of my hands, wherever it is pulling me that way. My arm is the easiest thing to control because it's free, it's nothing on top of it. So I want you to place the hand and throw this hand next to your ear here past your head. So I'm there. And then come back. It feels like it's a low impact and all that. You're landing back on your toes. And having this arm straight is going to slow you down as much as you can. So when you try the drill next, don't worry about getting scared to lean on the shoulder. That's why those exercises there, we want to build up the strength as much as we can on the shoulder, because at the beginning, some areas is going to suffer more than the others because we don't have the technique yet. I'm going to show you doing the macaco with the technique, if I can. And I'm going to show you doing the other ways as well, so you can understand as well. It's hard to say what's the best technique for you, for the other one and all that. That's why we're doing this challenge, to find out where you are. And everyone, even though that we all want the same goal, which is the macaco, I would probably teach you in different ways because you want to learn fast, right? So there is a quicker way. If I know exactly where you are, what's going to help you. And your body, your own drills is going to tell me, okay, that's not working, let's change. There is many ways to do it, and I'm going to show here now. Any more questions towards that or position or the setting up for the macaco?
Okay, I just wanted to ask you, you were saying if, when you put the hand down and you lift the hips above the knees, if we're not feeling quite comfortable with the jumping yet, is that still a good exercise to just go up and down to have that feeling of putting your hip up toward the sky?
Yeah, because will be the first exercise. If you're scared, your own body is not going to send it. You're probably going to put 10%, 15%. Eventually, you're going to realize, oh, actually, that's not too bad. And then you put a little bit more. That's the drill. Let me explain why I prefer that drill. Because this drill, you can pretty much do the macaco without of the other elements like flexibility and all that. Let's say I'm not that flexible here and my shoulder isn't that flexible. But if I have enough power on my legs to get my leg as high as I can, all I need is a little push of my leg. I don't know if you can see. So my opposite leg is just gonna do this. Yeah. And I'm over the other side. I'm gonna be, even let's say I'm scared to go up. I can place the hands, fingers that way, look at the floor. This hand is gonna go there, and I can just practice that. Yeah, practice, keep doing it. And in the meantime, there will be more drills, there will be more exercise. The things that I send it to you guys, be able to tell everyone's stage are. Of course, if you guys not quite there yet, there are other things that we can implement to help you to get there, okay? That's why the drills. Now, with this drill, I'm gonna now start to put more power in my leg, not doing anything else other than that we just explained. But I'm just putting more power because I'm comfortable with it. So I'm placing my hands, going here. I went a little bit higher. I'm gonna put even more, same thing. I look at the hands, I'm already over the other side. All I like to do is let the grab. I'm not even pushing this leg. I'm not even reaching with this hand. I'm just literally using that. Of course, when you actually kick this leg, do other things, even better. But as I said, everyone will be different. There are many other ways, okay? The way I prefer to do the macaco is the one using coordination more. It's less impact on your back, but it's harder because it involves more coordination than in strength or anything like this. I'm gonna do exactly the same thing, but I'm gonna wait until my hip goes as high as I can, and I'm gonna bring the opposite leg first. So the sequence is look, hand facing that way, opposite leg, opposite hand, and I land on that leg. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 to land. As long as my hip is high enough before I take off, I can just push by just a little push. I don't need a lot of power like we're doing on the drill. So I'm gonna go there, I place, I lift, and I just go over. But my hip is as high as it can get. I know I need my hip there, so I get here. Now I'm looking there. My hips is still facing that way. What you don't wanna do is do this. Yeah, so there. This leg is gonna go over, but my hip is at the peak. That's as high as my hip can go because of my flexibility. But I don't need much. I can just push here. And that's no momentum. When I add a little bit of momentum, it becomes naturally and easy. So I go there and everything goes. This way, safer on your back. Why did I decide to do this for me? Because after my back surgery, the last thing I can have is impact going through my lower back. So I needed to develop a way, I need to perform in a way that my coordination is on point, my time is on point, so I'm not using a lot of strength. And I can do this even if I'm cold because I'm not involving a lot of elements or more strength into it. But you can do by pushing both legs at the same time, which originally that's how I used to do it. So I'm jumping off 2 legs, which give me way more power. Yeah. And it's easier for me to get up there. It does involve so much coordination, but it's quite a lot on your back. I mean, when I say quite a lot on your back, if you can do the bridge, it's fine. For me, it's because back then I had the surgery. I wasn't strong enough until now. Now it doesn't matter for me. But when I place, now I'm gonna push off 2 legs and then I open. You get more momentum. So some people teach you how to practice like this. First, and then here, and then they build it up. I personally don't like it because there is no much control in between. So I can't say to you, oh, stop halfway through and bring this hand over more. It's just trying, and you don't know what can improve. Some people learn that way. And even I teach that way, depending if the other way doesn't work or if it takes too long or lack of flexibility, depends. Does that make sense so far? Got any questions?
No, it's good. Thank you.
All right, let me just quickly demonstrate something here because this is hard to explain on the video. When you're pushing off both legs or one leg, however it is, I need to eventually open my opposite leg to my arm. So for instance, it's my right arm, I need to open my left leg. I decide to do it from the beginning because and then there is no confusion, there is no extra step halfway through. My legs are already in the air. That's why I go here, I place the hand, my legs up, and then I push. One thing I need to focus on is to push the leg on the way up. What ends up happening at the beginning when you're learning this process is that we lift the hip and then you kick the leg. It's too late, because if my hip gets to the peak and I haven't kicked my leg yet, what's going to happen? My hips start to drop and my opposite leg start to go up. So they're going in different directions. So for instance, if I'm laid down here and let's say I'm on the macaco position, if I wait until my hip gets to here, which is my top, and then send the leg, look what's going to happen. I'm going down, right? Because my hip is the most powerful thing and it's going down. Doesn't matter how much power I kick with this leg. So I need to send the leg on the way up here. I'm already sending the leg. So it's the momentum from the hip and from the leg going up. And this is what's tricky to understand, especially by yourself. It took me years to understand why some people are struggling with that. Because I already was doing, but I didn't understand why. It's the timing of the hip. It needs to go up as the leg go up. You can't wait until your hip, because that's the natural thing to do on your brain. Your brain is telling, wait until the top and then send the leg. It's too late. So it's going to be here. That's going to happen. What you want to do, look the difference now that I throw my leg at the same time. So I'll be on my toes and my hip is down. This is the position of the macaco. So I send and then send my leg. So my hip goes, even if I don't use my arm, it's going over to the other side. So this you can practice as well, just getting the time to get the hip and send the leg. That's why we're doing some of those exercises there. So your brain to start to process this on the way up. Nice, everyone. Now that you have seen most of the mistakes that I have seen so far in the group and also from previous challenge as well. So now you can understand exactly what are the little things that can be changed in order for you to make a progress on your technique. And as you can see, it's pointless if you're trying to do everything at once, because the takeoff is the first step. If your takeoff is not as efficient as it can be, everything else is going to be compromised. So that's why it's pointless for me to send all the information to you where that you're not going to be able to process all of that. Let's work on the foundation movements first, and once we get that, we will be able to progress. I totally understand that some of you are on different stages, so I'll be directly talking to you throughout the challenge, and also we'll be able to address all of that on the implementation workshop. So stay tuned, and I be on the group. Any questions, feel free to get in touch and keep pushing yourself. See you soon.